Well, the Trump administration making a move this week that's not getting much attention. The White House just registered the website domain aliens.gov. It's causing some to speculate that the president is about to release a batch of previously classified files on extraterrestrial life. Last month, he posted this on Truth Social. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life. We went out on the streets of New York City here to find out if people are really thinking what we're all thinking.
Do you think aliens are real?
I do.
No. Possible. So many universes out there.
I think so.
I can't categorically deny their existence. I'm not sure.
They're definitely not green if they are real.
Yeah. Looking green and scary, so that's what I would think, but I don't know. I think they probably evolved.
Trump is expected to release some files on aliens. What do you think he's going to say? I don't think there's going to be any proof that they actually exist in those files.
I think they closely represent, like, humans. I don't think they're these crazy monster-looking things.
What kind of technology do you think they have? Do you think they're more advanced than us?
Yeah, everything. Let's go there. They got everything.
No cars, definitely spaceships, for sure.
Yeah, sure, we are aliens. Don't you see?
I knew it. All of this sounds like science fiction, but for those who have witnessed UFOs in real life, it's nothing to laugh about. The clip of a former Air Force officer is going viral. He claims to have seen non-humans interfering with our military equipment. Watch.
They were green, ready to launch. Mm-hmm. The main guard calls down and says, "Sir, we've been seeing some strange lights in the sky. Overhead, flying directly overhead, making really weird maneuvers." And then all of a sudden we get a large horn go off. And we know what that means. It means that there's an issue with one of the missiles. So we look at the board, and sure enough, one of them went from green to red.
So that's interesting. Joining me now to make sense of all this is theoretical physicist and director of the Galileo Project, a Harvard-based research initiative to find evidence of extraterrestrial technology, Avi Loeb. Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, what do you make of his testimony? I mean, that he believes that he saw some UFOs at one point. Is there reason to believe that that's maybe true?
Well, thanks for having me. It's not only this particular witness, but there are many reliable pilots, military personnel, people from the intelligence agencies, the Pentagon, who talked about experiences that cannot be discounted. We should take them seriously. Nowadays, we have much better sensors than we had decades ago. So it looks like there are things we don't fully understand. And the reason we need to understand them is, first, for national security purposes. If we take the more conventional approach that these are gadgets that are produced by adversarial nations, we need to know about them, and we need to figure them out. However, if we are talking about technologies that arrived from a non-human source, that would be the biggest discovery ever made in science. And of course, that is extremely important for getting a new perspective about our place in the universe, for perhaps inspiring us to visit their backyard if they are visiting our backyard. You know, it's a matter of planetary defense in some sense, if we worry that they might have some hostile intentions. So all in all, this is a serious matter, and let's get to the bottom of it, not by talking about it, not by telling each other stories of what we believe, but rather by collecting high-quality data, or if the government has it, you know, letting a scientist like myself, I would be delighted to help them figure it out.
I mean, there's been talk about this for years, though, that the UFOs exist or aliens potentially exist. I mean, the tabloids clearly are going to be all over this story. I mean, there's a report in the Daily Star that says that the U.S. government is in possession of shocking evidence that may prove the existence of alien life forms, including jaw-dropping satellite imagery. It goes on to suggest that there are images of a ship that looks nothing like anything that humans have ever built. I mean, do you think potentially that this is out there, that maybe the government has been withholding it to maybe not scare the public?
Well, I think the main reason for them to withhold it is, first, if they don't understand the data, they would rather keep it secret because it may belong to an adversarial nation, the kind of risk that we are facing. But moreover, if it's not human-made, they can brush it aside and say, this is not our jurisdiction. We are not in the business of figuring out what lies outside the solar system. We're supposed to protect our nation against other nations. And frankly, the government does not have the very best minds in science to explore this. And this is my day job, like any other astrophysicist. I would love to help them figure it out. And I do believe that they may have such data, and part of it was classified because it was collected by classified sensors. And other parts, were not really shared with Congress because they're worried about someone looking over their back and saying, perhaps you are not doing your job. I do think that it's serious because former President Obama commented on that, and current President Trump issued a directive to the Pentagon to share this data. Now, the fundamental question is, what will be shared through these websites that we assume are not related to immigration? I mean, the aliens.gov and alien.gov. And, there is a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. The best case scenario is that we will see clear evidence from satellite imagery, for example. I mean, John Ratcliffe talked about it, and it would indicate dynamics of objects are outside the envelope of human-made technologies. Right. The worst-case scenario is that we will see some redacted texts that are not very conclusive, and that they would fuel conspiracy theories.
The government, though, has a history of covering up UFO programs. A report from a former Air Force intelligence officer turned now whistleblower is about to find out a covert UFO retrieval program. And then there was the congressional report brought some of these videos to light. They showed U.S. pilots interacting with strange objects in the sky. What other evidence will it take for this to be brought to the public? But you also think people that say that they've seen an alien, a UFO, we typically think they're wearing a tinfoil hat. Do you think that this website's going to change that?
Oh, yeah. For example, all the footage that we saw, the videos, the images, do not give us an assessment of the distance of the object and how far it's moving and what acceleration it is displaying. And without those, we can't really tell if it's human-made technologies or something else. And the Galileo Project that I'm leading is actually right now capable of figuring out distances by observing the same object from different directions. So we use the method of triangulation, and we're looking at millions of objects in the sky and trying to figure out if any of them is UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomena, in which case I told my research team to call me in the middle of the night. I would be delighted to see that. And I'm happy to work with government in figuring out these things. So the quality of the data shared so far is not good enough. If they have something better, we better see it, and then we can analyze it, and I'll tell you my frank opinion on whether it could be human-made or it must be extraterrestrial.
I want to get your take this on the 3i Atlas. For those who are not familiar, it's a massive interstellar object that entered our solar system, and it's exhibiting some strange behavior. You've been tracking its movements very closely. Tell us what sets that apart from a regular comet, and what do you think it might actually be? Do you have any more insight on what we're looking at?
Yeah, so I listed the 22 anomalies on medium.com. I have a place where I put an essay every day. And among these anomalies are some geometric ones. This object came in the plane of the planets around the sun. It displayed the 3 symmetric jets coming from its nucleus in a way that you wouldn't expect a natural rock to do. And it had an anti-tail, a jet pointed at the sun. And also it shed nickel without iron, the kind of alloys that we produce industrially for aerospace applications. So there were some anomalies about it that make it quite intriguing. And my suggestion is to try and classify any such object that comes from interstellar space in terms of whether it's a potential threat to humanity or not. And in this case, we are not sure. There is a third possibility. You could have a Trojan horse, something that looks natural from the outside, but it has in its interior some technological gadget. And we could take a hitchhike on interstellar object if we want to endeavor into interstellar space, send either a capsule with technology or microbes in it to basically serve as an interstellar gardener. We could do that by hitchhiking on an object like 3I Atlas. So it's not necessarily just natural or technological. It could be a mix of two. And we should be open-minded to that. Our training data set in the past was based on rocks or icebergs, but we should expand this training data set to include technologies from other civilizations, because once we find it, it will change everything.
Right. That's true. And we have so many questions, and the mystery has always surrounded this topic, and we'll wait whether or not this website provides any new details, or maybe just opens up more questions that we have. Avi Loeb, great to have you on. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.